family of 14. Can you imagine? 8 sisters, 4 brothers, right? What would you think if you could you raise all that, make all that food for 14 people?
No,
Every man for himself. Every man for himself.
You mean you'd make them do their own cooking?
Yes, sir. You'd train them up the way they're to go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Don Reed Sr. from Heritage, Pennsylvania, and the program you're watching now on TV or on various other news channels is now going to be the first time on television in El Paso, Texas, in Wyoming. So I want to thank especially Grace Randall, and she met me at Tennessee and talked to her, and she said, "We'll work it out. You can have a program on our TV," and we're here today. Thank you so much. We need your help. I want you at the end of the program, you can get all the information on our program. And the show is called The Don Reed Show, Ask Don. And I'm Don Reed Sr., and I'm 92 years old, and you're going to hear a story about various things that have happened in my life. And I have 2 guests with me today. I am so tickled pink with them that they have just been friends of mine and so forth. One is also the co-producer or the producer of the show here, and we all know one thing, that they both love the Lord. There's 2 guests today, and I want to introduce them. Their names Darlene and also Deborah. Right? Anyways, welcome to the program, the Don Reed Show.
Well, thank you for having us.
What question would you like to ask me, Darlene?
Well, the first thing is, how did you overcome the gambling addiction that you had in life?
Okay, and Deborah?
Well, I'd like to ask you about how you overcame the addiction that you have with alcoholism.
And with them goes other things, sexual problems and so forth. You know that.
Right.
So thank you and you know why this program is come about, is the fact that people, Darlene, they're going to their church, and Deborah, and they can't get questions. They have questions, but the pastors can't answer them, or afraid to answer them, or afraid to tell the truth, right?
Right.
Like different tithing or things like that, you know. So we're going to do this program called Don Reed Show, Ask Don. And I just pray, God, that you enjoy it and help us to get started here today. Okay, so you want to talk about gambling, and you want to talk about alcohol and other problems, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, well, this program is very open. People can stop me and ask questions and where things something, or how did my mother feel, or my dad, or my friends, or did they know that I was this, or did the bankers know I was doing all the things? I said, nope, they didn't. I was a pretty good con artist. So I know very well that my life. So I'm going to tell you about my life, and you can go to the YouTube and also Facebook and other news media to watch our program. But boy, this is a miracle that this is a grace here that came when I met her in Tennessee, that she just took a liking to me or whatever and liked our program. She said she watched it. So anyways, welcome to the program here today. I'm going to start now. I was born and raised in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, family of 14. Can you imagine? 8 sisters, 4 brothers, right? What would you think if could you raise make all that food for 14 people?
No,
Every man for himself. Every man for himself.
You mean you'd make them do their own cooking?
Yes, sir. You'd train them up the way they're to go.
That's good advice, you know. So born and raised in Newcastle, family of 14. My dad was a streetcar conductor, making $100 a week and so forth. And that was, he paid the rent, the electric, gas, telephone, and food on $100 a week. Wow, that can't even buy a meal out tonight someplace where you go, you know. So this is all about my life story. And at the end of the program, you'll see all the information you can get. So now, I had 8 sisters and 4 brothers, and I was raised on the east side of Newcastle, Pennsylvania. And as a young boy, sometimes we have to talk about these various things that happen when you're a child. And they come out later on in life, right? But you can very well hide them, right?
Yes.
I mean, I presume you both are married, right?
Yes.
And sometimes maybe your husband had some problems too, right?
Yes.
And you find out later on and so forth. Well, anyways, that's what happened to me. Raised on the east side of Newcastle, Pennsylvania. I went to Newcastle High School, grew up and I believe that my demonic, would you call that a demonic spirit?
Yes.
Probably.
And
Yes.
how about you,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And now I was 10 years old, somewhere in there, and my mother and dad were great parents, believe me, to raise us, and we didn't get anything at Christmas, just passed down clothes and shoes and so forth, but they were great parents. But my dad had a problem. On every payday, I would listen to my mother and dad, and my dad would take his fist and he would pound it on the table, and I'm in the other room, and he'd say, "Where'd the money go? Where'd the money go?" Well, how could you make it go on
Not
that?
for that many family. No, you have so many children you're taking care of. That's very hard.
And that's the clothes and everything, right?
Yes.
So he'd pound his fist, Well, I got a little scared, so I'd run to the garage. Well, I was 10 years old growing up, and kids would do various things at their childhood, and watching Playboys and everything else, and I got very sexual involved in a very wrong way, but I can't help it, but that started well, so, and then that went on so far, and then one day I met a guy and went down to the pool room at the age of 14, and when I was age of 14, I was down at that pool room. When they would fight, I had to, well, how am I going to get some money to play pool? I'm not working, My dad had a bank with just like this, a square. He'll put it on the wall, and our names, Merle, Donnie, Maud, Myrtle, Harry, Nellie, Unglass, Ed, Merle, and Bill, all 14 of us, right? 12 of us, rather, and he put money in there for Christmas. Well, when he was around, I would take a knife, and I would put a knife in that little slot, and I would take it out off the wall, and then, tip the money, and I'd get the nickels and dimes, and I'd go down. I'd steal from my kid brothers, not me. I never left touch mine. And I would go down to the pool room, and that's how I started gambling. So I would go there, run away every time I had a problem. Then I started doing it without arguments, because I liked gambling, So I shooting pool, and they were peeled me like a banana. I didn't even know how to shoot that much, but we were gambling right there. And pretty soon it would get bigger gambling, and I got better and better in pool. I was a good pool shooter. But they peeled me like a banana. If you know what I mean. So as we progressed in my life, I started gambling, and then I started, at 14 years old, I started playing basketball in my school. I mean, maybe an hour from my, about a block away with high school playing basketball, and I started shooting basketball and everything else. Real good. And I became a very good player. In fact, I ended up as an all-state basketball player. I went to Westminster College. In 48 and 49, I held every record there was in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. I got so good, which you'll see later on, I went to Westminster College. I played in the NIT, and we got beat in the quarterfinals by St. John's.
Wow.
And we were, don't forget that NIT is like the Super Bowl of football.
Oh, okay.
So I finally accomplished my goal, and I'll tell you later what happened after that. So anyways, I grew up, started going there, and I grew up in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Finally, I graduated. I went to high school. I graduated all kind of basketball records. I had 19,000 row in one game, state record. Might even stand today, I don't know. And I held every record there was in Newcastle High School. So I was become good, and so I got a scholarship. I went to what they call Westminster College in Wilmington, Pennsylvania, and as a junior, he signed me up as a basketball player, because I was afraid somebody else was going to get me, but I took it. So I took that and so forth, and I played pretty good, and I was all state and everything else, and I was really having a good time, but I was gambling. I was playing on the weekends. I started going to various houses. Different people. And, when you go and you meet older people, women and so forth, but irregardless, that's what I did. So I started going to the pool room and gambling and everything else like that. And then I met a woman by the name of Donna Heinlein, and from Transfer, Pennsylvania. And she met her at a dance one night, and of course I was so powerful and glory, And I said,
You were all that, Don. You were all that.
and I said, do you know who Don Reed is? And I said, I'm the basketball. She said, I don't care.
Oh, she wasn't from your area.
I didn't like that because,
she had no idea. She had no idea who she was talking
to. So God
to.
love her. I married her, and I'm telling you, people, it was just beautiful how I met a nice woman, grew up with her, and married her in our marriage, and we went to Colorado, and we got married and so forth. So now I'm married. I got a beautiful wife. And we're going to find out later on in the second part of this program, too, that they made a movie of my life, and a hero of it is my wife, Donna. And you'll be able to get the information right off the screen. So anyways, I started gambling. She didn't know about it. We got married, and I was making all kinds of money. I was in the accounting business. I was running an accountant for another firm, and finally someday I felt, I know the Lord might have told me, but I said, I want to, maybe it's greed. Not greed. I started my own tax service. So I went to the boss. I said, look, I'm going to start my own accounting business. I was running 100 of his accounts every day, every month, or whatever. I said, but I'm not going to take one of your accounts. I wasn't even a Christian. I don't want none of your accounts.
How would that affect him?
Yeah. Well, as you know, that he said, he said to me, thank you. That's a good question, So anyways, I started my own accounting practice, and I moved around to various places in the valley. I started making good money, and I grew, and all of a sudden I had enough money, and I turned around and bought a motel. So I have this motel now, and my girls, I had my accounting practice on the second floor. I had 50 employees.
I have only one thing to say.
Huh?
I call you Mr. Unstoppable. Because you keep going, and it's like you keep going, and you're getting away with this, you're getting away with this, and getting away with that.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm getting from.
Yeah, and nobody knew it. Nobody knew about my problem, my wife including, because all my drunks I was with, they were drunks too, But anyways, at that particular time, these truck drivers come. They would throw their gear in the corner of the room, the room downstairs, go bartend, drink for 8 hours. And I would rent that room out 2 or 3 times.
So they became your friends, really?
Well, they couldn't wait to visit me. So anyways, as I progressed, I had 35-room motel. And guess how many rooms I sold? 103 a day.
Oh, my goodness.
Not every day, but most of the time. Right? Yeah. 50, 60. We had a record of 103 rooms in one day.
Well, you'd have a lot of truck drivers coming in back and forth.
From different trucking companies down there, And anyways, as they come in, they would let some, not all of them, don't get me wrong, but they were very courteous, and they would do that. Well, and of course, I had 6 trucking companies, so they met each other, and then they would bartend for me and so forth. I was singing at the bar, believe it or not. Tiny Bubbles, I don't want to talk about that. I wanted to say, the drunker they
I'm
got...
glad it's the past.
Yeah,
There you go.
That's the way... what made me laugh is the drunker they got, the better I was. They thought I was.
They thought
I was singing Tiny Bubbles.
They liked you a lot.
I was singing Tiny Bubbles and Pearly Shells and all that kind of stuff. That was terrible, but we had what they call hunky tonky or whatever. I'd give the microphone to the truck drivers and they would sing, or whoever would want to. Right? So we had a good time, making money. Believe me, as you know. 35-unit motel.
Yeah.
80% occupancy. You're doing good. Well, I want to tell you what I hooked up with that, right? So, anyways. I had that money now, and all of a sudden I got everything going. Okay, I'm married now. I married my wife. We went to Colorado. Okay, I got both of my boys. This is how bad alcohol and gambling can get. Right?
It really affects your whole family.
That's exactly right. And I had my kids were turning bartend.
Oh, no, you got them involved.
That young.
Yeah, it's a family involvement. But not the right way, okay?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they would run over and make beds, and they'd have kids. We had a swimming pool right beside the bar. Then we'd have parties there, drinking parties and so forth, And it's amazing that the kids start bringing their kids down there, and so they're getting involved in things, too, that's not exactly right.
Yeah.
Maybe, right?
You're adding the family plus their friends.
Yeah.
That's not good for
Or
anyone.
maybe they were getting beer. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm saying?
that's not good.
And so forth. Now, I was making all kind of money, and I started going to Las Vegas. Now, compulsive gambling is what we're going to talk about. Now, you said about gambling, right?
Well, I meant the compulsive because, gambling is, you can't stop. When you start gambling, it's like an addiction that drives you. You don't stop until something stops you.
But that's a good point because you're going to see when I went to Las Vegas.
Well, when you went to Las Vegas, it probably affected the alcoholism too. It wasn't just the gambling.
It's a combination.
Exactly.
But you see, when I got my motel, I would have been gambling all the time. And weekends, my wife would run the motel. I'd go away for 3 days across to big gambling, poker.
What did she think you were doing?
Well, I just tell her I'm in business. I'm in business. I was a big liar, naturally, okay? Alcoholics are liars, compulsive gamblers are liars, sexual perverts are liars, whatever you want to call it, okay? So now I get this guy comes in and says, hey, Don, I got a free ticket to Vegas. Whoa, wait a minute, it's not free. Nothing is free. So anyways, I started going to Vegas, and I started running tours to Vegas while I'm out of my motel, okay?
Oh, now you're involving other people.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't start by running. That's a misstatement there. I'm trying to tell you why I lie, okay? But anyways, I started going to Vegas with a couple guys, and in fact, they both had junkets, and one ended up killing another one, believe it or not, and because they were arguing over, I think, taking people to Vegas. But regardless, okay? So I was into all kind of high stuff, okay? And I really had no concern about God. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you something. When I was running around, when you have a motel, you have a building sex trade. So I was running around with a lot of stuff, things, a woman committing adultery, naturally, you know. But let me tell you something. Listen to me. I never feared God. I feared getting caught.
Right.
Can you imagine that? Why did I fear getting caught? Well, I could die, or he could kill me, but I didn't fear God. Or if I would have feared God, I would have been, you know, people say that they're living together and they fear God. You believe that?
You can't. You can't fear God.
No, you're numb to it because you're into what you're doing. It's all in self, what you want to do. And the saying goes, sin is fun. Nobody wants to stop what they're doing because it's entertaining and it's feeding their inner self.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the problem when you get into situations like that, as bad as that is, because it's fun. It's entertaining.
It's fun, and you can't control it.
The devil keeps bringing it forward.
Exactly.
And you know, the next important thing is now I'm in Vegas, and one night, believe it or not, I was 22 hours at a table, holding myself, couldn't go to the bathroom. In 22 hours, and an angel, I think, to another person, if that's possible, yes, came to me, and I wasn't saved yet, okay, and said, Mr. Reed, you've been here for 22 hours. We on a card here, we see what's going on. He said, why don't you go upstairs and take a nap and sleep and come back down, you know. Well, I just possessed. If it wasn't for dice, I was over at the blackjack table. And when I went to the blackjack table, guess what? They had, at that time, seven seats, you know. I would buy the whole table.
Wow.
So, they would send in a floozy, or and she would, you know, sit there with her legs to distract you.
Right.
Because she would hit on 18 or, you know, just to break me when I'm trying to count cards. When I went there was only one deck. Today it's 4 or 5 decks. You can't memorize the cards now like you could then. So, anyways, I was really making money. So I went back down after I slept, and I started gambling again. And Darlene, by the way, when I was up in that room, I want to tell you something. I must have been something. God said, pick up a Bible. So I went to the Bible and picked up in a table there with the Gideon Bible. I just took it a little bit, read a little bit, threw it away, and went back to sleep for 5 hours. Went down. I gambled then for 22 hours again.
So that didn't get into your mind, really, the Bible?
The Bible, absolutely not. All I know is that it stopped me from gambling at that time, but it didn't cure me. Because I was a Methodist. I was going to church, not against the Methodist church. I wasn't born again. I had no idea what salvation was. And so, of course, anyways, I lost everything, all my 25,000 credits. Would you not believe, Darlene, at one time I must have had $50,000, which would be like $200,000 today, in front of me.
And that's the problem. You get persuaded with all of this money or whatever. And that was what was driving you, because even when you win a little, then you want to keep going back, and you don't want to stop. You don't want to stop. You want to see how much more you can get. But then something happens when you lose it all.
Yeah, and not only that, but $250,000 in today's money, you know. And I started with 1,000.
I think, though, that what happens is, like she said, you keep going and going, but the problem is you don't think that you're ever going to go backwards. You always think you're going forward.
Yeah. Now, when you realize, like she said a while ago, when I stood there, you mentioned something about the results of compulsive gambling, right? Because there's such a thing as gambling in ordinary. I'm not going to say that everything is compulsive. You know, people buy lottery tickets, they play bingo. That's not gambling necessarily that can send you to hell.
It just depends on how they're living. Especially if they don't have a good paying job,
and when it affects them.
Right, because they're looking for another way instead of going to the real source.
But why am I a compulsive gambler? Because of my childhood experience.
Right.
And that started it. I'm not blaming my dad.
You were getting away with it all that time.
I'm not blaming my dad either.
No.
You follow me? So here I am. I'm now that I lost everything, and I have to go home, and I got to tell my wife no. My wife has no idea as bad as I was, because I always lied. I was a good liar, you know, and I told her I got a business meeting over in Youngstown. I'm gambling for 3 days and just calling back from our business and so forth. And she was so innocent and loved me so much, you know, that she just...
She overlooked everything you did.
She overlooked everything. That's why the second part of the movie, the program, we're going to talk about a movie they made of my life. And the hero is my wife, Donna. Okay, so as I progressed, I went and told her, and she said, okay. I said, you know, I lost everything. And she said, oh, well, anyways, Donna went to a Bible study at Bob Wambach's in Sharpsville, Pennsylvania, her and another woman. And she came home, she said, Don, I got born again and saved last night. And she said, I got raptured. Well, I said, oh, the only thing I could say, ruptured, with basketball, maybe that's what she means. I don't know. It's okay, that's whatever, that's nice, you know. Well, almost a week or 2 weeks later, I was in the house all by myself. I had been running all over the place. She was running my motel. She was a good, wonderful wife, you know. She tended bars. You know, I mean, she loved me, and I'm doing all this. She don't know.
Yeah, but she was trying to do everything she thought to help you.
Yes.
She had unconditional love.
Yes,
that's a good way of looking at it, you know. So anyways, when I finally come home one day, I got sick and tired. And when I was on the 700 Club, they asked me what happened. I said, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. Now, some of you may understand that. I said to myself, my wife don't deserve this. My kids don't deserve this. So my conscience now become alive, I think. And I got saved on my hands and knees in my living room. That's 50 years ago. And I haven't been right since. And I found out in the Bible it says, we are peculiar people.
Absolutely, we are.
And you're peculiar out there if you're born again. Not religious. Religious and relationship. They both start with R's, but there's a difference.
Definitely.
So guess what? I had everything. And I was making money pretty good now. And then I turned around and I bought a motel. And of course that was before that. But I bought that motel before. But all this was going. I have all these debts, and I'm sitting in my house, Darlene, and God says, don't declare bankruptcy. I said, what? He said, don't declare bankruptcy. I said, all right. So I turned around, I took my accounting practice into my cellar of my home, and I started doing tax returns. I did 700 tax returns. They had a bad attorney when I sold my accounting practice for $20,000 to pay my Las Vegas market because they have their own collection force, right? But I had $15,000. I paid them $5,000 over so many years.
Didn't you have any kind of a lawyer or anything that would tell you, you know, that you should declare bankruptcy?
Oh yeah, he told me I should declare bankruptcy, but I had to tell him. The Lord said no.
Oh.
So that's a good question. But you know what? That's why this program is so good. They ask questions as we go along here, and it might be you out there someday, or you have a question, you can call me, and I'll have a woman or a man in there that had the same problem maybe, and that's why it's the program, we need your help. So anyways, I turned around and I had the motel now, making all kind of money, and I got down on hands and knees. That was 50 years ago, as I said, okay? And believe me, darling, I would not want to change my life for all. Now, here comes the Lord working. I only want to know one thing, that God loves us, and you and I, and we're going to continue on next week, okay, so that you can hear the rest of the program. So I'm asking you to help me get this program started. Go to the screen there, get all the information, and if you want to be a guest, there's a telephone number on the screen, and we have everything that you want to do. So absolutely, I'm telling you, God has blessed me. Next week's program, you're going to find out how about my movie, how I started this ministry here that you're watching on the TV. You're going to see miracles, how I run tours to Israel, and how God has used me, how I'm out of debt completely. And believe me, people, I owed the motel debts and so forth. But most important, do you know Jesus? Ask him to come in your heart right now. We'll send you a Bible. It's free. There's a telephone number there. The girls will answer it, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. God love you, and I thank you so much for helping us out. Being one of our founders of this new ministry called The Don Reed Show, Ask Don. Watch the television station right now. Amen. Deborah, and thank you both for taking the time to sit in with my show today. And now we're back. I just want to get back to the problems where we had my wife now didn't know what was going on. Running my motel, I got down on my hands and knees, as I said previously, and I got up and I asked the Lord, take the desire away from gambling. And when I work with you people out there, if you call me, I don't say to quit. Or go to AA. Well, you can go to AA and GA if you want. And I went to both. But it wasn't my way. So I don't knock it. I recommend it if you want to go. You say you want to go, go. But the Holy Spirit will work through AA, GA, or anyway, or through people around you. As you know, when my wife went to the Bible study, I told you that before, and she came home and she was different. Oh, man. And I didn't know what she meant when she said, as I said this before, I didn't know what she said. She said, if I get raptured, I'll be out of here. I said, well, I thought it was rupture. Basketball, that's right. Anyways, I started, and see, here's another thing, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know whether I told you it before, but sometime I like to repeat this. I never feared God. I feared getting caught. You know,
thank you for watching The Don Reed Show, which is now airing live on Life Christian Broadcasting Network out of El Paso, Texas, Wyoming, Mexico areas Wednesdays at 5:30 Mountain Daylight Time. If you have a question for Don Reed, please call us at 724-977-2247. If you have a question to ask Don Reed, please visit our website at thedonreedshow.org and click Ask Don. If you would like to donate to The Don Reed Show, mail checks to Don Reed Ministry, P.O. Box 1181, Hermitage, PA 16148, or visit our website at thedonreedshow.org. Donate today online at thedonreedshow.org. Just click on Donate Now. Now download the app Life Christian TV and watch it on all your devices. Watch live Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on lifechristian.tv. Watch live. Download the app on mobile devices, Life Christian TV. Now introducing a new way of interviewing with Don Reed through the internet using live stream from our studio to your home. Thank you for watching The Don Reed Show. We look forward to hearing from you very soon. This program was produced by In His Hands Productions, LLC. InHisHandsProductions.org. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.